Okay. Take a calculator, a phone, or something. So, first question. What is the question? What number is 20? So now, again, for these, you have a choice. Like I said, what number is, I don't know. So I'll identify that as x. Is means equal. 28.5, I'm going to change it to a decimal. And of means 87. Right? And you just multiply those two numbers. 0.285 times 87 equals 24.795. Round and okay, so it says round the answer to the nearest hundred, so we get 24.80. Okay. Now, in this case, so if you, I think it's easier if you set up it as a proportion. Remember, part, total, percent, and 100. Now, in this case, if you use the percent proportion, okay, I'm still doing number one, by the way. 28.5 goes over here, 87 goes over here, and what we're missing was the part. So just to answer question letter A, we're missing the part for number one. For number two, what percent? Well, obviously, again, I'll do a percent proportion this time around. So 100, this is part, this is the whole, and this is the percent. So the percent is what we're missing, so let's call that x. Of 84, so again, remember, I'll write of over here is, that's another way of remembering this. So of 98.54, so that's my whole, is 27. So again, think about it. Think about this in a different way. You have $98.54, and you gave me $27. What percent did you just give me? So we're using a percent proportion, and my pen is not working. Now it is. Okay, so now you can cross multiply. So you can cross multiply, and we get 2700 equals 98.54x. I divide both sides by 98.54, and this is going to give us percent-wise 2700 divided by 98.54, which is going to give us 27.4%. Okay, that's fine. If you wanted to create an equation out of this, right? If you want to create an equation, let me just lower this. I'm going to create an equation out of this. Let me just show you. What percent? So what percent is my unknown? Of means multiplication. 98.54 is means equal, and then we get 27. So now we divide both sides by 98.54. That reduces to 1, and we get 27 divided by 98.54, and we get, as a decimal, 0.2740000, etc. 406, but we're going to round this to the nearest 100, so again, you can multiply that by 100, or just move the decimal two spaces to the right, and we get 27.4. We get the same exact answer, whether you use a percent proportion or you want to set up an equation. It's really a matter of choice. 84 is or equals 0.89 of means multiplication. What number is x? So I like doing equations because I can just simply now get to it. 0.89 divided by 0.9 is just 1, and I'm left with x isolated. And on the other side, I divide 84 divided by 0.89, and we get 94.38 rounded. Okay. If you want to use a percent proportion, that's 100. 89% obviously goes up here. 84 is goes up here. And of what number is what we're looking for, and of means the total, right? So that's why I put x at the bottom. We can cross multiply, we get 89x equals 8400. And I divide by 89, divide by 89. So notice that when I divide, I'm dividing 84 divided by 0.89 is the same thing as dividing 8400 divided by 89. So 8400 divided by 0.89 equals, and you can see that your calculator is going to give us 99,000, what is this? Sorry. 8400 divided by 89 equals 94.38, rounded to the nearest hundred, right? So whether you use a percent proportion or an equation, you get the same thing. Okay. Now with a percent proportion, it's easier to identify what we want. And in this case, what number we were looking for the total. Okay. What is this? What Tina buys a sweater, the discount. What's the new price of sweater? So again, two ways. Let's do this the long way. So the discount's 45%. So if I took the price of the sweater, 23.30. You know what? Let me draw a visual. Here's 0%. Here's 100%. Here's the $0, and this is $23.34. Now, if you think about it, right now, if I were to buy this and I didn't have this discount, I'd be responsible for this whole amount, 100% of the value, which is 23.34. But I'm not. For some reason, I have a discount of 45%. So let me just symbolically take 45%. So 10, 20, 30, 40, 45. So all that, I don't have to pay for it anymore. I'm not responsible for 100% of the value. I'm responsible, well, if you take 45%, I'm responsible for 55%, right? 55% of the sweater. So the quick way to do this is 23.34 times, if you remove the discount, I'm left with 55%, and 55% as a decimal is 0.55. So 23.34 times 0.55, I am going to end up paying $12.84. That's the quick way I was talking to you about. Now, if you want to do this really long way, well, you can, let's just, first of all, find a discount. Number one, find a discount. You can use a percent proportion, or you can just multiply it. Well, here's $23 times 0.34, and you multiply that by 0.45. That's going to give us a discount. So 23.34 times 0.45 is, so here's my discount, $10.50. Right? The price of the sweater originally, so let me write the original price is $23.34. The discount is $10.50. So I get to subtract. So if I subtract, that's a 4, 13 minus 5 is an 8, 2 minus 2 is 2 minus 0 is 2, and 2 minus 1 is 12. So here is my price after, so I'll write price after discount. So you get to choose which way you want to do it, right? So, but you will have some test questions, right, on your test eventually, where you're going to have a question like this, or something like this, and they're going to say, hey, what equation or what expression can I use to find the price of the sweater, or which of these expressions represent the calculations, that I need to define. So one of your options, letter A, might be 23.34 times 0.55. Choice B could be 23.34 times 0.45, and so on. So now, obviously, we want this, because this, right, multiplying these two numbers is going to give us the price of the sweater after the discount. Now, if I multiply choice B, this, if you were to multiply, this gives you the discount. How much was taken off the original price? So it's you're gonna have to know what that means. Okay. Tina buys another sweater. The discount's 45. What was the discount? Okay, so in this case, I want the discount. So if I want the discount. I don't want the price of the sweater after discount. I want to know how much was taken off. So here's that bar model I was talking about. 0%, 100%. Sweater is 28.88 cost-wise, $0. So as of now, This whole bar represents 100% of what I'm paying, which is $28.88. And again, in this case, I'm going to have a 45% discount. 10, 20, 30, 40, 45. So this is going to be discount. This now right here, that's my discount. What has been discounted? So they actually want you to find out the actual discount. So well, this one's easy, right? 28.88. Multiply that by the decimal version, 0.45, and that's going to give us a discount, 28.88 times 0.45. The discount in this case is going to be $13 rounded. Okay, so discount is 13. Okay. Explain how questions 4 and 5 are different in terms of what was asked and how you found the answer. I think I just mentioned that. Okay, so for the first one, we were asked for the price of the sweater after the discount, and for the second one, we were actually looking for the discount. Okay. 7, Taylor buys a toy. All right, so let's do number 7 with a bar model, and let's do it so we can understand what's going on. So here's my toy, $0, and it's currently $46.79. That represents 100% of what I'm going to pay. But I have a discount. I have a 10% discount, so I'm going to remove that much. So after they remove 10%, I am no longer responsible for 100%. I'm responsible for 90%. Okay, so let's figure what 90% of 46.79 is. So it's 46.79 times 0.90, because I changed that to a decimal. So I am now responsible for $42.11. So that becomes my new total. So, and that's what I'm going to use to create my new bar model. So the second one, when I create my new bar model, right, 0%, 100%. Now my 100% is changed. It is no longer $46.79. My 100% of what I'm going to pay as of now is $42.11. Except that I have another discount, 18%. So I'm going to remove 10, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18% of what I was about to pay, I'm going to remove. I have a second discount. So I'm no longer responsible for 100% of 42.11, but I'm responsible for, well, if you subtract 100 minus 18, you get 82. So I am now responsible for only 82% of the $42.11. And we can easily find that out. So 42.11 times 0.82, it's going to give me 42.11 times 0.82, it's going to give me $34.53. So that's what I get after a second discount. Now I can draw my third bar model. And again, the bar models here are just really just a visual. So here's 0%, 100%. So 100% of what I'm going to pay right now is not $46.79. It's not $42.11. It is now $34.53. That's 100% of what I'm going to pay. Except that I have to pay for taxes. Now, taxes, what's the tax here? 7.5%. 7.5% of $34.53. So I'm going to add that 7.5 over here towards the end. So I'm no longer paying 100% of $34.53, but I'm paying 107.5% of that number. And that's what we have to find. So 34.53 times, let's change that to a decimal, it becomes 1.075. If you multiply that, 34.53 times 1.075, you get $37.12. Now, notice what I did here. I multiplied these two, right, got 42.11. So if you think about it, let me just write it over here. I took 46.79, and I multiplied that by 0.9, right? And I got this, so the product of these two numbers, 42.11, I multiplied the product of these two times, guess what? 0.82. right? And then I'm the product of that, I multiplied that by what? By 1.075. Let me change colors. And that's really what that's really all you should have done, right? So 46.79 times 0.9 times 0.82 times 1.075 gives us $37.12. So would you rather do this, or would you rather do what I just did at the bottom? It's your choice. All right, I'll be right back. Oh, yuck. I'm drinking this awful concoction that my wife made. Ugh, yuck. Oh, number 8. Sam buys the AirPod Pro for $290. The tax is 8.8875. What's the total price and includes the rest? So this includes the tax. So this one is a nice one because here is the bar model. Ugh. Oh, yuck. 0%, 100%. So I am at the moment responsible for all this, 100%. And 100% is $229. That's what I have to pay. But they're saying that I have to pay taxes. And that's 100%, by the way. Now, the tax is 8.875 of 229. So think about this. So if you 8.8875 estimated. So this is about 8.8875%, right? So we're adding this to here, to my total. So imagine taking that piece, right, duplicating and adding it to here. Right? So that represents 8.8875. So it's going to take my 100% to 108.8875. So that's what we're paying, including taxes. Of what number? Of 229. So the only calculation that you need to do is 229 times, and let's change that to a decimal, 1.0088875. So that's going to give us the price of the AirPod with the taxes. 229 times 1.0888753, right? And so our final answer is $249.35. Okay. And again, you could have found the taxes separately, just found out what 8.8875 of 229 is, and then added that to 229. But there's no reason for you to do that. Okay. Okay. Tiago buys golf clubs. There's a discount and a tax. So again, let's do this the quick way. 278.87. If you have a discount of 22%, you're no longer responsible for 100% of 278. So what are we responsible for? Well, 100% minus 22 is going to leave us with 78%. That's what I'm responsible for. So I got to pay for 78% of that value here, this value. After I multiply these two, right, I'm going to get a new price. I'm going to get my new discounted price if I multiply these two. And I am then have to pay taxes. So the discounted price, which is this, I put in parentheses, right, times now the tax. So now again, tax is something we add on to, so to our value. So instead of, so I guess I should draw a drawing. Let me do a drawing. So this is 0%. This is 100%. $0, and this is 278.87. And from that, we're going to remove 22%. So I'm going to go 10, 20, 21, 22. So that's gone, and I'm left with 78%. So let's actually calculate it. All right. 278.87 times 0.78. It's going to give us $217.52 rounded. So that's why my discounted price equals to. So, all right. And then, so right here on top, 217.52. Now, what happens after that? Well, if you think about it, we can erase that, right? I am now drawing a new bar model. And in my new bar model, 100% is no longer the original price. My 100% is 217.52. That represents what I'm paying, 100% of what I'm paying. $0, right? Except that now we have to figure out the taxes. Tax is 9.25%. So imagine if you actually figure out, hey, you have $217.52. What is 9.25%? Let's imagine that is that much. Well, you're going to duplicate that, add it to the end, right? So your 100% is no longer 100% because we added 9.25%, so it becomes actually 109.25. And that new number here, right? What does 109.25? What is that of 217.52 is what you have to end up calculating. So you end up multiplying 217.52 times 1.0925, and you get 237.64. Right? So the shortcut is that you multiply the original price times what you were responsible for after the discount, which is 217.52, right? And then that you ended up multiplying times this number here, the tax, but not 9.25, but 1.0925. So those are the only three numbers you need to put in your calculator. Right, so, and this represents the price of the golf clubs, including the tax. Okay. All right, here we have a camera, store selling a camera during Christmas. All right, and it was marked down during Christmas. There should be a word here. Marked down 35%. After the holiday season, the camera were marked up 45%. What is the price of the camera back then? So please, again, I forgot the word down here. Let's see what's happening here. So here's $450.76. If the cameras were marked down 35%, so here, I'm just going to quickly do this. 10, 20, 30, 35, if they're marked down 35%, means that the new price is 65% of 450.76. So here's the new price. Let's multiply that by 0.65. So obviously the price is going to go down. I mean, think about it. If you multiply 450 times a number less than 1, it's going to be reduced, right? So if you multiply these two, and I'll multiply it. All right, I calculated 450.76 times 0.65. You get the reduced price, and it's going to be, again, rounded, 292. And I'm actually going to write all three numbers. That's what I get, $292.994. So that's the price after the reduction of 35%. And then sales were over. Christmas is done. The store owner decides, hey, let me mark it up by 45%. So this represents the price after the discount. So number 2, I draw the new bar model, right? Except that when I draw it, right, this price in the corner is $292.44. So what did the owner do after Christmas? Well, he said, well, so Christmas is over. Let me increase the price, mark it up by 45%. So I'm going to take that and increase it by 45%. So from 100, we go to 145. Right. So, and I need to find out what is 145% of 292.44. So I'm going to take that and multiply it by, and again, if you change 145 to percent, it becomes 1.45. If you multiply like this, it avoids all the rounding, doing parts and you round and you multiply again and you round. So by doing this, you take away the rounding, which makes your answer more precise. So 450.76 times 0.65 times 1.45. You still might end up rounding, but you round definitely just once. So the final answer is 424.8413. And again, we only round once, and this ends up being our final answer. Jeez, so many questions. 11, the Cho family. Oh, my God. Okay, remember I talked about tip. And I'll do this the long way. It always irks me how they calculate tip or restaurants. All right, so food. 64.87. Tax. Well, tax was 7.45, so 64.87 times 7.45. Sorry. We're going to change that percent to a decimal, so it becomes 0.0745. So 64.87 times 0.0745. The tax is going to be rounded $4.83. So let's add that up. 10, 17, 9, and then 6. So this is my total right now. And then I'm going to do tip. Now remember I told you in class, restaurants nowadays have, I don't even see 15%. They actually, on the receipt itself, it's calculated for you. At the bottom of your receipt, it comes something like this. 18% gratuity, 20%, and 22%. Right? Now, what the problem is that when that's calculated and they have the values already for you, so you don't have to think and you just can take this value over here and put it here and just add it up. The problem is that when they calculate 18%, they're calculating 18% on this number. So they're taking 69.70 and they're multiplying by 0.18. Let me just show you what that is. 69.7 times 0.18. And they get $12.55. So, and I'll do the rest. I'll just do the rest. 69.70 times 0.2, you get 13.94, and then 22%, 0.22 times 69.7, you get 15. So this is what your parents look at. Right, so they get the bill, and then the tip space is empty. This is empty, right? And they're looking at the bottom. They're like, okay, the service good, great, excellent, and we pick one of these numbers. So my problem, or the problem with this that I have, is that this 18% was based on this total. It's 18% of $69.70. Your server, right, did not provide $4.83 of service. That's tax. Your tip, the restaurant should be multiplying 18% times this number over here, 64.87. And I know it's not going to be a lot of a difference, so let me just do that. 0.18 times 64.87 is $11.68. You know what? I might as well do the rest. 20%, and I know I should change that to a decimal, but 20%, 0.2 times 64.87 is, and the next one is going to equals $12.97. And the third one, 0.22 times 64.87, and the third one is 14.27. Nope, yeah, 22%. Now, you're going to say, well, Mr. Cho, is not that much different. Look, 11.68, 12.55, less than $1, 12.97, 13.94, almost $1, 14.27, 15.33, it's a little bit more than $1. and again, am I making a point here over $1? I guess, but just I don't know. I think the tip should be based on the food portion, all the drinks and all the food and all the desserts, but not including the tax. Okay, so as far as we're concerned, and I guess when you take the test, base your tip on the food portion only. So this is what you should be putting there. So the tip in this case, well, what are we talking? 18%. We're going to add 11.68. So the total for that evening for the Cho family, 8, 13, 11, is $81.38. We're not tipping on $12.55. We're not tipping on $69.70. I just eventually you become lazy, right? So if this was my, actually, and I know I'm saying this, but if this was my total, if I went to the restaurant and my wife and I ate and our total was $69.70, basically what I do is I calculate what 10% is. 10% of this is what, 7, right? And I multiply that by 2 and I end up getting 14. So my tip is this. Okay, I kind of ignore this, right? So it's just because I'm lazy, right? But in reality, I still think the tip should be based just on the food portion. Okay. All right. Amber buys a baseball card for $35. She marks it up by 28%. The buying customer has to pay 6.15% taxes. What did the customer pay? So again, bar model, 0%, 100%, $0. What is this? $35. So I bought a baseball card on eBay for 35%. I'm going to sell it, but when I sell it, I'll make money. So I'm going to increase that. I'm going to increase that by 28%. So that's going to take me to 128%. Right? So let's just find out what that is. So it was a markup of 28%. 35 times 1.28. It's going to take us to $9. It's $9.80. Okay, sorry. 35 times 1.28 equals what? 35 times 1.28. My calculator. 35 times 1.28 equals, there we go. So with my markup, the person who's buying that from me will be paying $44.80. Now, this is my total, right? So this is what the customer is paying. About that. 0%, 100%. $0, and this is, what is this, 44.8. Now the customer has to pay taxes, right? So for the customer, this is his price, 48, and then $44.80, and we're gonna have to add just a little bit, 6.15 in taxes. So that's gonna take to 106.15, and that's what you end up multiplying. So it's 106.15 of $44.80. So the quick way of doing this is 35 is what I paid for. Markup, so it's going to be over 1. So 1, let's just write as a percent. So actually 1.28. Sorry, I said decimal, sorry. And then once you multiply these two, the product of that two gives you 44.80. And you can, again, we can do it again. 35 times 1.28, just to confirm. So this 44.80. And then what are we doing with that? We're multiplying by the tax. And again, tax is something that you add on to. So it's going to be 1.0615, right? And 44.8 times that number, 1.0615 equals, and the final total is $47.82. Okay, so this is The only time you can't do this, right, is when you have tip. Okay. 14. All right, so let's do these a little faster. Tim's weight increased by 17%. His original weight was 75.6. What is his weight now? All right, so 17.6 was his original weight times an increase of 17%. So it's the original, the 100%, plus the 17%. So if you want to think about that for a second, you can rewrite it like that as a percent. Well, let me just rewrite it, 117%. And then let's change that to a decimal. That becomes 1.17. Right? So you could have gone straight to this, and that would have been fine. So 75.6 times 75.6 times 1.17. His weight right now is 88.45 pounds. 14. We didn't do percent of change, did we? Well, I'll do it now. So percent of change is calculated as new price, new minus the old over the old. Okay, so the new price, the new number minus the old number divided by the old number. And that's going to give you the percent of change or percent of increase or decrease. In this case, we want the tip. So, what percent was the tip? Well, the new price is 63. The original price was $53.24. We're going to subtract that. Sorry, we're going to divide that by 53.24. So let's put that in your calculator. 63 minus 53.24 minus 53.24. Enter, divide that by 53.24 is going to give us, in your calculator, 0.1833, and I'm just going to buy a few more numbers, 20811. Now, that's not in percent format, so we got to take that and multiply that by 100, or move the decimal 2 over, and we get rounded 18.33. So that's how much we tipped. 18.33%. We'll talk about percent of change on the next time I see you, but that's pretty much how you do it. Apple stock price dropped 3.5% by the end of the day. At the beginning of the day, the price was $149.76, and at the end of the day, that's what we're asking for. So we can use the same formula. New minus old over old. Now in this case, the new price is the price of the Apple's share price at the end of the day. And the old represents the price of Apple at the beginning of the day, right? Go to the stock market. The market opens at 9:30. Okay, Apple stock opened the day at 149.76. So throughout the day, it went up and down, and then when 4 o'clock hit, when the stock market closed, the price had dropped 3.5%. So a couple, you got choices here. You can just find what 3.5% of 149.76 is, and then subtract, right? Or you can use this formula. It's up to you. Now, what you have to understand, or one of the tricky parts here, if you're using this formula, is that when it's dropped, and you're going to switch the percent, and you're going to write the percent, you can't write just 3.5 as a decimal form. It's 0.035. You got to write negative 0.035 because it represents a decrease. So the change here was a decrease. Okay. The new price, it's what we're trying to find out, so I'm just going to write N. And the old price was 149.76. And then I'm going to write 149.76 here at the bottom. If you cross multiply, right, 0.035 times 149.76. So if you cross multiply, you get 5.2416 equals negative equals N minus 149.76. We're going to add 149.76 to both sides. and n equals whatever that is, minus 149.76. Our final answer is Apple stock at the end of the day was this. Right, which is pretty much the same thing as finding the percent, right? What's 3.5% of 149.76, and you subtract it from 149.76. That's exactly what we did. So, and that's our answer. Larry's bank account changed from $875.50 to $345.56. What was the percent of change? So this is the new, right? Sorry, that's the old. And it went from that to this. So you got to figure out who the old price is and who the new price is. What's the percent of change? Well, by in this case, it's a drop. So you're going to have a negative number. So again, let's write this down. New price is $345.56. The old price, or sorry, the old, let me change that. I need his new balance, right, in his bank account is $345.56. He used to have $875.50, right? So new minus old over old, right? So let me start percent. Let me write X. We're going to, we're going to subtract these two. We're going to get 345.56 minus 875.50. And then we're going to divide that by 875.50. And we're going to get a negative number, right? So the percent is going to be negative 0.605299. We're going to change that to a percent by multiplying that by 100, and we get 60 point, and I'm going to round it 53%. So the percent of change, and it's negative. So his bank account dropped 60.53%. Okay, and how do I know it's dropped? Because our answer is negative. I'll talk about more about the last 4 questions when we do percentage change in class. And I forgot that we didn't. Okay, that's it.